What's up, guys? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to give you guys a very quick update about the markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. Anyways, we just got the FOMC minutes, and as a result of this, the majority of Fed officials do want to see lowered interest rates, but they're very divided when it comes to inflation and the labor markets. The Fed has a dual mandate, and many of these central bankers are worried about another increase in inflation as we get closer to August. At the same time, they're going to be very careful with the situation. Heading into tomorrow, I just want to mention that we have initial jobless claims in the morning before market open, alongside some data from the Philly Fed when it comes to our new orders and employment. And then at 9:45 a.m., we have the S&P Global Composite PMI data that could also cause some volatility. So we're going to see if this causes the market to pump more or dump. We'll see which way we end up going. For now, the market's trying to push going into tomorrow. This imbalance takes us back up towards that 640 zone. I think we could be returning back up there. So we saw this very big dump. The market dumped really hard all the way down to about the 633 area on SPY. I did give you guys a warning about this level. And then we're now making a V-shaped recovery since then. We could try to go a little bit higher for 640. We're going to see if we reject off that again or not. For now, look for a bit more upside. I think we're holding up quite well, but there could still be a rejection because when you zoom out, we're going to see if this is going to be forming a head and shoulders here, or if this is going to be a full V-shaped recovery, because we're still technically making lower highs. And we're going to see if we end up projecting near this trend line or before this trend line. That could be another resistance. So let's see, is this going to be a left shoulder, a head, and then like a right shoulder like this, and then we start to dip? Or do we just keep on pumping? We'll have to give this the time it needs. For the QQQ, we're making lower highs here. We need to get back above basically, 566 to push higher towards 568. But if we lose 560, we're looking for a bigger dump back down. In my opinion, we have 568 to 570 that could be tested on the QQQ if this tries to push a bit more. Then we'll see if we reject back down. It's possible these EMAs act as resistance where our 50 and 20 EMAs happen to be. So be careful right there. That could be another resistance. For now, look for an attempt to get to 568 or so back to where we were in the morning. And then we'll see if the QQQ ends up rejecting. On the IW, I think we could be pushing back up to 226.5, and we'll see if we reject near there. Keep in mind, we could also draw out a trend line just like this. That's going to be another resistance. We might be testing this before we end up turning back down. On ES, we dumped quite a bit only for us to bounce, so we could return closer to where our EMAs are around 64.25 to 64.50. Then we'll see if we reject as well off that. But I anticipate some upside, at least for now. When it comes to NQ, we're looking for 23,400 as our resistance. Then we'll see if we turn back down from there. For now, we are favoring some more upside, so watch and see how this ends up going. 23,400 looks like a potential target as we might try to push a bit higher. For Bitcoin, we're trying to rebound right here. We're going to see if we can get back up to about 114,500 or not. If we lose 113,000, we're looking for a dump, but I do anticipate some upside for 114,500. Then we'll see if we turn. For Tesla, we're looking for a bounce as well. We could be looking for an attempt for essentially 325 to 328. We did dump quite a bit. We came down to the 315 target we talked about earlier. Now we're looking for an attempt to get back up to 328. I think it could be pushing a bit more, and we'll see if it rejects. Nvidia dumped really hard to 170. Now it's trying to bounce. Look for 176 to be tested. It could go to 178 after that, but then I still think it could reject, and we might be, forming a bit of a downtrend. Look for some upside, and we'll see if we get a rejection. Apple's looking pretty weak here. Look for 225. We could try to bounce near 225, and then we could return to like 228 after that. But look for some downside to 225. AMD's bounced near this trend line I was talking about how it might try to bounce near this area. It dipped a bit only to bounce back up, so we're trying to reclaim this as support. In that case, we could be looking for an attempt for 168, and then we'll have to see if it rejects. Coinbase is favoring a pushback up to about 310. Might see some temporary upside. Amazon may retest the EMAs at 225 to 227. We'll see if it rejects, so there could be some temporary upside. For Meta, we're looking for an attempt for basically 755, and we'll see if we reject. Google is favoring essentially 202, and we'll see if we turn back down after that. And then Microsoft is looking for the same thing. We could be trying to get back up to about 510, and we'll see how it ends up reacting from there. The VIX is rejecting here, but I believe that this is just to start with the VIX because, if this is a symmetrical structure, it could be that the VIX is doing something like this, where it's basically forming an inverse head and shoulders. And then we're about to see this thing basically, maybe dip a little bit more as the market bounces, but then later on it might still try to bounce. That could be what the VIX is about to do. We'll see about that. And that could be a sign the market has more downside coming in the future. Although we're pushing right now, we might be going a little bit higher temporarily. SPY could try to get back up to 640. The QQQ could go up for 568 to 570. But then we're going to see, do we get another rejection to make a lower high? That's also a possibility if this is going to be a bigger downtrend. All right, so keep that possibility in mind. Look for a temporary move up, and we're going to see how we end up reacting to the Philly Fed data for tomorrow and initial jobless claims. Until I see you guys again, I wish you all the best. And I thank you all so much for listening, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you for listening, and peace out.